Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you have not been here before. Today we are talking about pixie cuts, arguably the most controversial haircut a woman can have. Now, for those of you who don't know, I had a pixie cut in 2019. This was before I started YouTube, so I did not document this in the usual social media way, but I have shown a few pictures here and there of me with short hair, and this has been a requested tutorial to really go in depth, show lots of pictures of the process, and just talk about everything I have learned about getting a pixie cut. So let's go right ahead and dive into this video. Now, the first thing you always have to talk about when you're considering a pixie cut is why. A lot of people just want to be free of the long hair. Either you're sick of dealing with long hair, or you're sick of the way society treats women as though we have to have long hair to be beautiful. These are both great reasons to get a pixie cut. I think they're both very empowering. But hold on, don't just jump off and get one. There are other things to discuss. The reason I got a pixie cut was because I'm someone who likes to experiment with my hair, and I have very, very dark hair naturally. This is lighter than my usual hair. My hair is just a step below black, and I like to bleach it, and sometimes I take things a little too far. So in October of 2019, I bleached my hair so badly that it came out like rubbery straw, where you can pull the strand, it kind of bounces back, and it's not good, let's just put it that way. So I knew my hair was damaged beyond repair, and I thought, I've always wanted to try something crazy, and since my hair is ruined, let's go ahead and try the pixie cut. Now, before I go on to the next topic concerning pixie cuts, I do want to give fair warning to anyone who's considering this. As I said, if you're doing this because you're sick of long hair, because you want to rebel against society, those are great reasons. Clearly, if your hair is very damaged. But I do want to warn you, a lot of us don't know what we're getting into when we get the pixie cut. We don't realize how long it will take to get our hair long again, and not to mention the stages of growing out a pixie cut are not happy stages, let's put it that way. And also, quite frankly, that a lot of us don't look better with a pixie cut. I know that sounds harsh. I'm saying this as someone who cut my hair. I will tell you right now, I did not look prettier with a pixie cut. I think I'm a nice looking person, but unfortunately long hair suits me a lot better. And one of the things you really have to think about are your features. And I know that we don't want to hurt each other's feelings, so a lot of people skip over this topic, but I'm just going to tell you because I don't want anyone to do this and then be surprised by the results. So I'm going to use myself as an example. I do not have soft, delicate features. I have a very big nose. Let's turn to the side here. Quite a prominent nose. I clearly have big lips. I have kind of downturned eyes. My eyebrows are very rounded, very sparse. They don't have that beautiful arch to them. And I don't have a strong jawline. My jaw is quite soft, and my cheekbones are lower. Now, there's nothing wrong with any of these features. Like I said, I really enjoy the way that I look. I think that most of us appreciate, in a world of so much plastic surgery where everyone's looking the same, unique types of beauty. But I will just let you know that when you take all the hair away, you notice the differences about your appearance. That's not the right word. You notice the weight of your features much more than you do with long hair. Long hair balances out, kind of hides things, just brings everything together. So the first thing I noticed when I cut all my hair off was, oh my goodness, I never knew my nose was that big, and it bothered me. I have a love-hate relationship with my nose. Most of the time, I love it. I love that I have the French aquiline nose. I think it's just a wonderful reminder of where my ancestors are from. Again, I think it's refreshing to have a big nose in a world where everyone wants to get surgery to make theirs look small and cute. But it was quite shocking, and I couldn't hide it. That took me a while to adjust to. Not to mention, I think the jawline really surprised me. I thought I had a stronger jaw, and especially my profile, which normally you see with me long hair. I'll turn to the side again. But my chin kind of goes in, and it's not the stereotypically beautiful profile that we're used to seeing, and it was just a big surprise for me. It did kind of knock my confidence for a while there. So all that being said, I think anyone can rock a pixie cut. We all have our own type of beauty, but if you are someone who struggles with confidence, who struggles with their own beauty, I just want to warn you, it might be something that frees you, but I don't want anyone to do it and then feel badly about themselves. So that's just my warning. I will admit that when I cut my hair, I thought I was going to magically morph into Audrey Hepburn or Mia Farrow or even Emma Watson, any of these women who really look stunning with short hair, possibly even more stunning with short hair than they do long hair. That was not the case. So that's just a warning I want to give, because I think a lot of people skip over this because we don't want to sound like we're being mean or dissing anyone. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to tell you my own experience in case you have the same feelings as I do about your features. So let's start moving into the pictures. And before I show you these pictures, I will say, so I did not have YouTube. I have no other social media, and I am not really a picture person. My husband takes 99% of the photos of me, and they are never photos of me when I'm all made up and I look beautiful. They're usually very goofy photos of me playing with the kids or doing something silly. Most of these photos I have no makeup on. I am in pajamas. I have funny expressions on my face. So these are not glamour photos, and maybe that's a good thing because you can see realistically what the hair looks like in all of these photos. And as you know, right after October 2019, COVID began, so we were all in the house. Again, I wasn't really, my appearance was not number one at that time, let's just say, and I found out I was pregnant in February with my second child, So I will just put it bluntly, these were bad photos. I mean, I never thought they would see the light of day, but the reality is that these are the only photos I have to document my hair growth journey. So they're awful. You will see me in a way you've never seen me before, and that's fine with me. I just want to warn you, it is what it is. So let's jump right into the first photo. All right, so when I went to the hairdresser, I showed her my reference photos. I did bring one of Audrey Hepburn and another of Mia Farrow. This was the look I was hoping for. And when she looked at my hair, she said, you know, you have really thick hair, thick, coarse hair. A cut like you're showing me is much better suited for someone with thinner hair. And she said, how about we try something more like Anne Hathaway's pixie cut? And I said, okay. Now, I'll be honest, I love Anne Hathaway. I did not like her pixie cut very much, so I'm not sure why I agreed to it. So this is the photo. This is the morning after. You can see I did not wipe off my makeup, and I look very tired. This is a photo of what my hair looked like after it was cut professionally. I will just say I did not like this at all. It just didn't suit me. I think it made me look very boyish. It just wasn't for me. So one of the other things you have to keep in mind when you're thinking about getting a pixie cut is your hair type. And if you're like me, if you have thick hair, you're going to need to go with something that's not the Audrey Hepburn pixie. So if you want to look at pictures of Anne Hathaway, if you like her style, I think that's great. She looked beautiful. It just wasn't a cut for me. Obviously, if you have straight hair, that's something to take into consideration. Curly hair, wavy hair, and really try to find a reference photo, or so many people on YouTube now who cut their hair, somebody who has similar hair to you, and see how they look, as well as finding someone with similar facial features as you to see how they look. And that would be a very helpful thing to see if you like that or if you don't like it. Now, moving on, even though I didn't like this cut, I was still determined to rock a pixie cut. So I grabbed my husband's electric razor and I just buzzed my hair down. So here is the photo of that look. We have a couple of these. This was a look I loved. It was super short, just a tiny bit longer on top, parted to the side, and even though it was so short, this felt a lot more feminine to me and a bit more like Emma Watson when she showed up at the final Harry Potter movie premiere with her pixie cut and just looked stunning. This was something I was very happy with, and I rocked this for maybe about a month. I believe I trimmed it once more down to this length. It's been a while. Like I said, I did not document this properly. I'm going off of memory because I really liked it. And then by about that time, and I think most people who've had a pixie cut will tell you, the pixie cut gets old. It's you miss your long hair, at least I did. So this was about the time I said, well, I better start growing it out. And I, for some reason, did not realize how long it would actually take to grow a pixie cut out. A lot of the videos we see on YouTube, I think, start at longer pixies than I had, at least the ones I've seen. So a lot of people said, well, by 6 months I had a bob. No way. not with my cut and not with my hair type. Let's start moving through some pictures of the next few months. I was trying different things. I tried straightening my hair because it is wavy, trying to get it to stay that flat look that the very short Pixie created. But my hair is so thick and very difficult. So in a few pictures here, you see that my hair is wet. I thought that looked pretty, cute considering. But as soon as it would dry, no matter what product I tried, everything, it would not stay flat. And if you've seen a lot of my tutorials, every once in a while I try to emulate somebody. Selena Gomez comes to mind, trying to slick my hair back the way she does. I must have used an entire bottle of Got2b glue and it was still puffing out. I mean, I just have a hair type that does not like to lay flat to my head. So something else to keep in mind, if you have a lot of volume, it is very difficult to hide volume the shorter your hair is. As you can see, as we go through the months, my hair is getting longer and crazier. Again, it was COVID, I was pregnant. I probably wasn't trying as hard as I would have if I would have been going out frequently. But this stage seemed to last forever. And every time I thought that it was getting long, it wasn't long at all. I tried braiding it, again, tried straightening it, little pigtails, nothing worked. And one of the things I realized is that when you have a close cropped haircut, all of your hair is growing out at the same length. Whereas if you have long hair, the pieces on top that are going to reach here are much longer. They need to be much longer than the piece starting at the nape of your neck to reach here. So instead of whatever this is, 4 inches, you have 4, 8, 10 inches. So that started to create this, as you can see, rounded poodle shape that was very hard to tame. A lot of people talk about getting frequent trims to shape it. The only thing I trimmed was the very back, right at the nape of the neck, because that, again, is the lowest point, and if I didn't trim it, it looked like a mullet. Otherwise, I was terrified to trim it because I thought it took me a month to grow 1/2 inch. I don't want to lose any more length, so I thought I would just suffer it out. So as we go through these pictures, you'll see it is this awkward stage, as I would call it, lasted a very long time. And the only solution I really found was to start wearing wigs because I was so uncomfortable with the way that I looked. Also, being heavily pregnant did not help because I went from looking very delicate to gaining a lot of weight and just feeling not like myself at all. So again, and this goes for whatever type of haircut you're thinking of getting, I never recommend cutting your hair if you're pregnant or you think you might become pregnant. It's never a good idea. You feel so different that you do not need to feel more different with your hair being totally changed. That's just a general rule I've found, because I cut my hair to about here in my first pregnancy. Terrible idea. Don't do it. Okay, now let's get back to the video. Alright, so right around this time was when I discovered I could do my first almost hairstyle. You'll see I clipped it half back because that top part was still, so we had right down to here is the length. The top part was still up here, and with the curls it was, that still not quite rounded but very triangular. So half back was a good style. As we move onward here, this was right after giving birth, so I wanted that hair out of my face if it couldn't be styled. So a lot of these pictures unfortunately are of ponytails, but you can see this was the stage where I could actually have a ponytail, and that's a very big deal in the growing out process. As we get to this stage, you'll see this is when I could start styling it again. After this point, it seems like it grows like a weed, probably because you've been waiting for length for so long. But I'm just gonna flash through the photos with the months here, and you can see by June it was long, and after that it just continued to be long. As you'll see in this photo, I decided to bleach it again because clearly I don't learn from my mistakes, but it worked out fine. As you can see, varying lengths of long. I tend to keep my hair right around mid upper arm length. Sometimes I consider growing it all the way down my back, and then I remind myself that I have 2 kids and that it takes me 45 minutes to dry my hair, so I'm not really sure. I know I said in a few comments that I was thinking of growing it to my elbows, but let's just see if we can get a proper... Alright, so I've recently trimmed this. I cut about 3 inches off of this, and it's right at the top of my bicep. I don't know what that is, but it's right about there. So this is 5 years later that my hair is this length, but I don't want you to think that it took 5 years for this. As you can see from the photos, it was basically this length 3 years later, and I just kept trimming it to keep it at approximately this length. I like to put layers in, all these things. So in general, if you are growing out a super short pixie cut, you're looking at least a year for chin length, I would say, in my experience. And I have fairly fast growing hair as far as I'm concerned. Again, I did just start from a very short cut, and because my hair is so thick and it does have a lot of texture to it, it might not look quite as long as somebody who has straight hair naturally. So about a year to have a possible style, and a year and 8 months to 2 years to have real length again. So just to summarize all of this, really need to think about why you want a pixie cut before you do it. If you were thinking of doing this on a whim, I would strongly recommend that you don't. Always consider upcoming events. Do you want to go to somebody's wedding or prom or a big event with lots of pictures with your hair in a stage of growing out a pixie cut? I know it sounds a little vain, but I think it's important to say, really consider your hair type, the texture, the thickness, the curl pattern or lack thereof. Really consider how much your hair means to you. If you are someone who is not defined by your hair, I think that's the best type of person to get this cut. but that's just in general. You might be someone who's always worried about your hair, and cutting it off just frees you from that. I will say that the process of cutting off my hair and growing it back really made me think about a lot of things, my definition of beauty, the way I see myself, and it did help me not care as much about what people thought of me, and made me realize that you don't have to look a certain way and a certain type of beauty all the time. But that's not to say that my self-esteem didn't struggle at other times. Now, if you have any questions for me, things that I forgot, please let me know in the comments, and I will try to answer them as accurately as possible. If you would like me to make a video where I'm not just talking and you can flash through the photos one by one, that's certainly something I could do. I'd probably upload it as a short to show the growing process, but just let me know. And as always, I appreciate you watching, appreciate any comments you leave, and I will see you in the next tutorial.